Western style of life. Things like having fewer children, being younger at the time you get your first period, being older at the time that you go through menopause. So putting all of these together, a woman can help with her physician determine what her risk is. Ideally, women will begin having mammograms between the age of 40 and 45, and we generally recommend that they do this once a year. But another really good screening test, if mammography is not available or is not able to be afforded, is for a woman to check her breasts once a month and to report any changes promptly to her physician. In the United States, even in a high screening environment, 40% of breast cancers are diagnosed by women noticing a lump in their own breast. It is not contagious. So breast cancer cannot be transmitted from one person to another. Some cancers do have the ability to be started by a virus. We've been talking a lot on this trip about the human papillomavirus, or HPV. This is a virus that's associated with both head and neck cancer and cervical cancer. And the reason we've been talking about it is that it is preventable with a vaccine if individuals are vaccinated before they become sexually active. So that's a very important public health measure that could be advocated for in this country. So if we catch it early, women are cured and they can live out a normal lifespan. So in the United States, 90% approximately of women who present with a breast cancer can go on to live a normal lifespan. So that's why it's so important to catch it early. I usually would recommend that people start with their primary care physician. Until a woman is actually diagnosed with a cancer, she does not need to see an oncologist. So following up with her primary care physician or obstetrician gynecologist would probably be a good option. So it feels to me, from talking to women in Nigeria, there's a great deal of fear and stigma surrounding a cancer diagnosis. And I would encourage women to take control of the situation, to recognize that breast cancer is highly curable if it's caught early and treated by the right professionals, to check their breasts regularly and really to pursue cancer screening with mammograms once a year so that they can be diagnosed early, be treated, and go on to live a long and fruitful life. I think that the knowledge in Nigeria is actually very good. There's a lot of breast cancer here, and physicians certainly know how to treat it. The major barriers are the fact that many women have difficulty affording care. Sometimes care is unavailable, such as radiotherapy or access to chemotherapy agents. And there's a great deal of delayed presentation. So rather than presenting with a very early, very curable breast cancer in Nigeria, many women delay seeking treatment, either because they can't afford it or they're frightened. And when you delay treatment, that's when your outcome is not as good. So it's not as if the physicians here lack any skills or knowledge. It's that the system is working against them while they're trying to take care of their patients. It seems like the general level of knowledge and awareness is quite low in Nigeria among the population. So I think education is really key to get the word out that there is screening available for cancer, that it is not a death sentence, that with proper treatment and early diagnosis, this is a curable problem for people. And to support cancer patients rather than stigmatize the disease. People who are diagnosed with cancer need compassion and support to get through their treatment. This is not a contagious problem, and these patients deserve our care and support. I try to be very encouraging with my patients. We often talk about ourselves in oncology as being big cheerleaders. We're really there to support them, help them get through treatment, work with them psychologically, to get the right mindset to get through therapy. But in general, the patients that I care for with cancer are a lovely group of women who deserve the very best care. And the women in this country deserve the same level of care that we're able to give in the States. I would like to see better infrastructure and better support, some sort of public insurance program for the people of Nigeria, especially in regards to cancer care. My name is Dr. Tracy O'Connor. I'm a breast cancer doctor from Roswell Park Cancer Institute in Buffalo, New York, and I'm here to encourage you to get your health information from People's Television.
I can tell you of a place, lovely as a pretty face, rustling leaves and bowing trees underneath the evening breeze.
With a population of about 15 million people, Gbagi Gbari is the name of the language of this ethnic group predominantly found in central Nigeria. The Gbagi language is part of the Kwa subdivision of the Niger-Congo language family. Gbagi is the most populated ethnic and indigenous group in the Federal Capital Territory of Nigeria. They are also found in Niger, Kaduna, Nasarawa, and Kogi states in central Nigeria area. The word Gbagi, which the Gbagi people are famously called, is the name of a particular yam in Gbagi. Principally, there are three types of Gbagi: Gbagi Niger, Gbari Genge, and Gbari Yama. The Gbari people are predominantly farmers, but they're also hunters, while some are involved making traditional arts and craft products such as pottery and woodwork like mortar and pestle.
Making kites from paper bags, flying high above the clouds, dancing in the village square, lovers meet from far and near.
Historically, the Gbagi practice a patrilineal kinship system. The lowest tier of authority is found in the extended family compound led by the oldest male. The compounds consist of small huts and rectangular buildings. The Osu king is the highest tier of authority in the Gbagi settlement and is assisted by a group of elders. They are known to be noble, transparent, peace-loving, accommodating and warm. Their hospitable and cordial nature earned them the phrase Muyishi Gwari Gwari, which means let's do it like the Gbagis. The Gbagi people have emerged as a unique breed among Nigerians. Their culture shows how much they have come to terms with the universe. The favorite food of the Gbagis is known as the yize, made from the guinea corn. To form yiwo, a special drink which is used to drink the nalodo, a spicy soup made with locust beans, and their famous dress is called ajisida, made from local cotton and traditionally woven and dyed by their skillful dressmakers. Some of their popular festivals is the Agbamaya Festival and the Yibaji. The Agbamaya Festival is a celebration performed to welcome the rain during the raining season, while the Yibaji is a traditional Christmas celebration.
Where the owl is never safe and crickets cry to end the day.
The Gbagi people are adherents of Islam, Christianity, and traditional African religion. In the traditional African religions, the Gbagi believe in a god called Shikwe, one who was there before their ancestors, but they also devote themselves to appeasing deities of the god such as the Megiru. Many Gbagi believe in reincarnation. Islam became more prominent among the people after the Fulani Jihad, while Christianity was introduced to the people by the Sudan Interior Mission, also known locally as the Evangelical Church of West Africa, and the Baptist missionaries from the western part of Nigeria. Prominent individuals from Gbagi descent include former military rulers Ibrahim Babangida and Abdulsalami Abubakar, and Nigerian multi-instrumentalist, singer-songwriter and composer B.E.Z. Bez, whose song you hear on the background.
I can tell you of a place, lovely as a pretty face, rustling leaves and bowing trees underneath the evening breeze.
Plastic bags. I'll say every day.
Plastic bag. Wow. I might say every day.
There is nothing I make use of in my shop as leather. I use about 2 packages of leather every day.
Packing several things, clothes. It could be clothes at times. It could just be maybe items from the market, as in when you buy foodstuffs. Even packing other plastic bottles too, and virtually anything that needs to be packed. Most of the times we use plastic bags for them.
Or if I'm going to somewhere like the market or a shop or something, I'll definitely have to use a plastic bag.
For me, my business revolves around that. You can imagine coming to buy a pair of shoes and I'll just give you in your hands. What will happen? Will I ask you to put it in your handbag? No, I can't do without it. And then what if I come to the market and I want to buy tomato or whatever? What happens? Where will I put my stuff?
Leather, they help my business in many ways because of many customers, they cannot buy your market without leather now. They may not be, it will not be portable for them to carry it to their home. So there is portability being using leather. in terms of putting the materials that putting the goods that you have sold to the customers, so that it will be easy to carry to the car for them.
Because I need it for everything. I need it for my waste bin. I need to pack some things. I need it for everything.
I'm a fashion designer. Most times, if my clients want to see me, I go with my bags, because when I come here, I always come with clothes. That's the reason I'm using it.
Well, it depends on the quality of the plastic bag and the size. For instance, if it's like the big polythene bags, we recycle. We could still use it to maybe pack clothes later. We could still use it at home for maybe pack refuse before we dispose of it. But if it's the smaller ones that maybe you used to carry, like something like fish, or things that will still leave stain or smells in it, we dispose of it immediately.
So if it's perishable things, I'll definitely throw it. But if it's like about clothes, we usually keep it in a basket in my house, so we can use it for other things. Yes.
I don't know, but I think a long while.
Oh, this question, Oga. The question is too big. Leather can take, to me, maybe 1 year. It will decompose within a year.
Like a month. I don't know. Like a month.
My God, I'm sure it takes long, because I think those are the things that you usually see that last a very long time inside all of the refuse dump and all those things. Most times when you go to pack stuff from a refuse dump, some other things might have decomposed over time, but of course the plastic bags would just be there sticking out. So I'm sure it takes a long time.
I have no idea.
I guess for my little age, or for my little staying in this earth, I've never come across that one. Plastic bag, it don't decay easily. I've never seen it.
Well, how long it decomposes? How long? Because okay, well, at least from my own little knowledge of plastic, I know it's not biodegradable, so I know it takes a long time. Maybe I say 50 years thereabouts for it to actually decompose, because of the kind of material it's made out of. So, but I'm not sure about. But I know it's a very long time actually.
Wow. A month? Or a year. It depends. A year.
That's impossible. Hi. That's impossible. No.
I cannot agree. It takes 150 years to decompose in the soil. So I may believe it, since I don't have any knowledge on it.
You don't say. Then we should reconsider, really.
I'm just hearing it for the first time.
For a nylon bag to decompose after 100 and something years, I don't know. Maybe only a scientist can tell that, not me.
That's a lot of pollution for the ecosystem actually, because since it doesn't decompose on its own. Definitely, even in because okay, well, I dispose of it through the waste bin and all that, but a lot of people just throw it in the gutters. So you, at least I know that will definitely clog up the drainages, and even for, well, in fact, even to try to like quantify the amount of damage. Well, I really can't quantify, but I know it's a lot. It's a lot of damage to the ecosystem.
It causes erosion. I think that's which I've come across before. Erosion during rainy season, when you drop it, like when you keep them anyhow, like in a dustbin, and it rain, can easily cause erosion.
Well, I'm not really sure of like exact effects, but I shall know that every single thing in this world has its side effects. It has, even this microphone might have its own side effects. So I'm not really sure, but I'm very sure it does. It has side effects.
Plastic bag? No, I don't think so. It's not possible, honestly.
No. No, I can't.
I don't know how it's going to look like, but I don't think I can stay without that plastic bag. Because if I did not, then my client, they will insult me then, I'll shoe. They will cost my life. So I don't think I can stay without using plastic bag. That's true.
Oh my God.
Election is when we elect our leaders who represent us. And election is my right as a citizen of this country.
Election is a voting process. Election is a voting process, like vote a candidate for a leadership.
It's more like my right to choose the country's leader. My own part to play about it.
Say from layman point of view, is any activity that is aimed at putting people in a position of authority.
It's a platform, an avenue for people to elect those or get into offices, those that they want to represent them.
An election is simple now. It's just people choosing one or two people. The society choosing a number of people to represent, to lead, to coordinate, to do administration. All right.
And now you want my trust once more.
Before you can say, what an election is, there has to be an electorate. Somebody has to, vote, you understand, in an election for people of authority to get into power.
The vote is the power of the electorate. All right. So the people brings their power to the table during an election. That's what it is.
I think it's more like us having a say of who goes there to represent us, of who we talk to, that will guide us aright, and give us the benefit of that. Oh, let me not use the word a past one. Or give us the benefit that what we need is what we're going to get.
Between the electorate and the election itself, the electorate are supposed to willingly vote according to their conscience, according to what they feel that the capabilities of whoever they want to elect into offices can do.
The electorate, they have the power to elect their leaders because this is a democratic setting, and you know what the meaning of democracy is. Democracy is government of the people, for the people, and by the people. So it is our right as the electorate to elect our leaders.
Only God can judge you now. Only God can judge you now.
Come on, you can't buy my right. It is my right as a citizen, and you can't buy it with money. No amount of money can buy it. So because by the time you sell your right to vote, you're selling your birthright. That's the way I see it.
I think that is laughable. I don't think you need to pay to get my vote, but rather you need to earn my vote. My vote is free. I mean, I don't have to collect anything from you to vote for you. If you tell me what you are going to do, and I am okay, and I believe that voting you, will mean realizing such aims and objectives, then I will cast my vote for you. I don't need to take money to vote for you.
That's a lot of money. My power is all I have got. All right. So if it's like I'm selling myself to you. If you pay me and I give you my power, my vote is my power. So it means you are ready to pay a whole lot of money. It's like I'm selling myself to you as a slave. You have total control over me. So that would be difficult to sell, actually. That will be very, very. In fact, it's difficult to explain. Well, but it's also simple to explain. If I give you my power,
I have sold myself to you. So why should I do that? It's my vote during an election is my power, is everything I am.
It's not a matter of money, because it's about my generation now. Trying to cause a change. There is no money whatsoever that one has to pay to get the right leader. The money can finish, but when the money finishes, what happens? What's next? That's what we're looking at.
You can only offer me your conscience and nothing else. The conscience that I have to believe that when you get in there, you represent me well. I don't believe in selling of votes, and I can't do that. So my vote only can appeal to your conscience, and that is exactly what it is. If I find out that you cannot represent me well based on your antecedents, I can't at all vote you in, no matter how much you're giving to me.
I don't need anybody's money to vote. If I want to vote, I'll vote for someone I choose to vote for. Not because of the money.
See, all I wanna say is that they don't really care about us.
That is the bane of the problem, the bane of the issue here. Collecting money and then selling your votes. You're selling a whole generation of yours. Very wrong. So people should vote according to their conscience. No matter how much they're giving you, let them go with their money. Vote according to your conscience. And when the person comes in, he will know definitely that he did not spend any money. He has come to do work for you. And he will definitely do the work. But when he buys your vote, what do you expect him to do? Definitely nothing. If I come to you and I buy votes from you, you don't expect me to do anything for you. So if they should have any expectation on the incoming administration, they should, from this very moment, begin to reorientate themselves, begin to understand that once they say their votes, they don't have any moral justification again to ask for the amenities that these people are supposed to come in to provide for them.
They should know that, when you sell your vote, you shouldn't hold your leaders accountable for anything. Because at the end of the day, when they buy you, you are electing the wrong leaders. And it will in turn rub off on what will benefit our citizens of this country. Because what we're suffering from in this country is as a result of politicians buying our right to vote them in. That is what we're suffering from. So it should be discouraged. It should be discouraged.
If you look at the lifestyle of people who sells their vote, they are in complete penury, living in squalor. They have no hope. Leadership that continues to gives out money to buy people's vote in an election will continue to exploit the people. They would continue to refuse to do what they should do. They would continue to keep back developmental projects that is supposed to empower the people and continue to use them as piecemeals during election.
The common understanding is that once you sell your vote, it's like you said your future and you said the future of the unborn. Because one, if you sell your vote, the person who bought your vote from you bought it, with a price and his personal money. And he will have to do business to recoup his money. And by the time he's recouping his money, you will be the one to suffer.
Okay, you look at the children, you look at yourself. Are you really in the right place? Is the country in the right position? Can we compete with other countries out there? When you collect the money now and it finishes, what's happened next? So I think with that right frame of mind, people tend to think twice before they collect money, because at the end of the day, the money finishes, but the person is still there for the 4 years.
So you shouldn't allow politicians buy you over. That is what we are suffering from as citizens, because we elect the wrong people. So at the end of the day, they're not accountable to us. By the time they buy you, definitely they will recoup their money. So as a result, you will not enjoy any form of amenities. What they are supposed to do for us, of course they cannot do it for us, because they are like investors. You invest money, you want to recoup it. So you can't hold them responsible for anything.
Why you keep on deceiving the people, my brother, my sister?
When you get politicians that want to come into power by crook or by any means.
One thing is them having doubts, them not having the consciousness of producing results. When you won't produce results, you tend to pay for something You know, when they pay them off, they feel they can do anything there because you are being bought over, so you don't have authority anymore.
Of course, they are businessmen. That is what they are. Businessmen coming to sell, coming to buy. So when they come to you, tell them that you are not selling. They will definitely come. They don't have any other thing. They don't have nothing whatsoever to offer the country except that money that they have, with which they will come to buy your vote. And when they enter there, they don't do anything for you.
Why don't we work together so the future will be brighter?
Money politics is the worst type of politics you can experience or have anywhere in the world. So our challenge is actually coming to the place of realization, of understanding what you are, what you carry, and who you are. If we can get to that place easily, then all of this would not even come up.
People should begin to, realize that once these people are voted in on the basis of having body of vote, I'm telling you, they will not do anything for you.
As a nation, we should know that those who are buying votes in the first instance do not mean well for the country. And if it is possible, the whole country should revolt against them. Once you see anybody, soliciting to buy your vote, that should be enough reason to reject that person or that political party, as the case may be.
If you vote for money, at the end of the day, the person will be doing anyhow in the power, and you have the right to say anything.
The value of my vote is enormous. It's about the change I want in my country. It's about a whole lot of things, the generation at large. We're talking about what we want to see, the change we want to see in our country. Look at the Western country out there. We are not just closed. The education is down, everything is not working, so we need something to work in this country.
My voter's card has power because it is my right. It is my right, and nobody can buy it.
I dedicate this one to all of the shady politicians. We go promise and fail and then make the people live in harsh conditions. Yeah.
Election is considered to be one of the key drivers of democracy because it engenders smooth transition in government, sustenance of democracy, accountability and transparency in governance. It involves a formal decision-making process by which the people select candidates that will occupy elective posts. It is against this background that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, was established under Section 153 of the 1999 Constitution as amended and Section 1 of the Electoral Amendment Act 2011 as an independent body solely responsible for conducting and coordinating elections and other ancillary matters in Nigeria. The role of INEC, therefore, in the electoral process in Nigeria cannot be overemphasized. With that, I welcome you to today's edition of Politics and You. Today, we'll be looking at a very important topic, the implications of INEC's decision on the Osun governorship election. My name is Pius Samuel, and I have in the studio with me, Ikenga Ugochinyere, a political analyst. Thank you for finding our time to join us today.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's look at the role INEC has played so far in the Osun State governorship election. There are a whole lot of cry back and forth. And now INEC has finally, drawn a conclusion that that election is inconclusive. I know you are a lawyer. You understand what the Constitution says about all of this back and forth. What was your initial thought when you had what INEC decision was as far as that election was concerned?
Well, at the level of the Coalition of United Political Parties, which is the umbrella body of the country's leading opposition parties that have the PDP, the SDP, the AD, all over 40 political parties. To us, immediately we had that. Even though we suspected from beginning that INEC is in cahoots with APC to overrun and upturn this election. To us, it's a rape on democracy, a plot to subvert the will of the people of Osun, expressly given to Adeleke. To us, it was an attempt to destabilize the foundation of our constitutional democracy and the principles of free and fair election. Everything about that election was going on very well, from accreditation to arrival of materials on time, until we get to collation point. The whole process was bastardized and messed up. It was just the collation, ordinary, like the Senate President said, ordinary addition of figures. Professor Mahmoud could not get it right. And they have the audacity to try to react to statements that we have issued. Look at 1,000 votes that was deducted from Ayedede by an officer of the commission. Before we were dealing with APC thinking that they are the only ones who wants to ensure that this thing is not done the right way. We did not know that the biggest threat to the survival of our democracy, to free and fair election, is INEC. Because when an INEC officer that is supposed to be unbiased, that have taken oath of allegiance to the Constitution and to the Republic, decides to tamper with the sacred, the only duty he or she is called to do, to remove a figure. If this thing have happened in places like China, it can tantamount to treason with the person being executed. How can an officer of INEC, not a member of APC, use his own hand in Ayedede to remove 1,000 and then call the man in Ayedede local government, Mr. Kolawole, to go and tear down the result sheet? You see, you have committed the heinous crime. Now you want to cover your track, because what they wanted to do was remove the one that have been pasted. Remember, the electoral act said once it is declared, it will be pasted in the place in a way everybody will see. That is part of the constitutional provision. So now they want to hide that one, remove it, and then so that later they will come and paste the one that had the deducted 1,000 votes. You see, why I don't want to listen to anything INEC is saying? If there have not been a eternal vigilance by the great young people of Osun who listen to their good friend Davido, that they should keep vigil. If these people have not kept vigil, because the result has already moved from Ayedede, but the people still kept vigil watching that thing on the wall. If they were not there when Mr. Kolawole came to tear it, are we going to be aware that such a thing happened? Wouldn't INEC tell us at the collection center, like they said earlier on, to go to tribunal? You see, that's why I don't want to listen to anything they are saying, because if you cannot train your staff, these ones are not ad hoc staffs. The people who did this are not ad hoc staff. So if it's ad hoc staff, I can say, okay, these are university graduates or people who are trying to make both ends meet. They must have been compromised. No, these people are officers of the commission who they say have taken an oath to ensure neutrality and then free and fair election. This is, the man said the EO called him to go, and then I had expected by now that INEC would have paraded that woman who is the electoral officer, and then check the call record of Mr. Kolawole, which is very easy. Get to the police, they will print the call record for you. Is it the only one it has to do with the opposition? Print the call record, you see who this young man called, and then grab this woman. There should have been, charges have been filed to reassure we in the opposition that you are not up to something, that you are not bowing to the pressure and interest of somebody in Lagos. Now, at the end of the day, as long as we are concerned, using Ayedede as an example, because why I keep using it is that because that is when we were able to use our own, not police, it wasn't police that arrested it, it was the citizens that did the citizens' arrest of grabbing Mr. Kolawole. So I used the one that our people were able to grab them. To not tell you now, look at what happened in parts of Oshobo and Olumdere, or what they call that area, where you will see a difference. Maybe they scored 14,500, and at entering it, they enter 15,000 something. There was extra 1,000 vote that was entered, different from what was in from EC8. There was another addition in Oshobo. If you add the additions, that when you get the first result sheet and the one that was tabulated at the collection center in Oshobo, you see a gap of 4,000 votes. And I keep telling them, if INEC has done the right thing, especially their staffs, there will be no need for this rerun we have gone into. Because they are saying the rerun is about 3,004 something. And we are telling that there's an addition, there's a calculation error, which was deliberate. Because why I say deliberate, I use Ayedede as an example. If we have not caught them, that one would have slipped. So there is a calculation, deliberate manipulation of calculation, that made us lose 4,000 votes, which if you have done the right thing and calculated it, we will not be having a rerun. This rerun is just to massage the ego of the APC. They have lost an election. You should have declared a winner. And that brings me to the question you asked me. Section 179, subsection 2A and B of the Constitution, that has spelled out the grounds upon somebody can be validly returned as a governor. Once he scores a lawful majority of the vote cast, and once he scores 1/4 of the vote in 2/3 of the local government, in this case 20 LUG, the man scores even in 30 LUGs. So the point I'm trying to make, which is very, very important, is that first of all, there is no need for this rerun, because there was a deliberate calculation error that they did against our people in the coalition. And secondly, the reason they are giving for the rerun is untenable. First, let me give you an example in what happened in August 2018 in Lokoja, the Lokoja Kogi Federal Constituency, on Isa Haruna, who was of the APC. He defeated the PDP. He had 26,000 plus, and the PDP had 14,000 plus. Difference of about 12,000 votes victory margin. Now, the number of votes cancelled by the APC is about 19,000. But the difference of votes cancelled by INEC was about 19,000. Professor Mahmoud Yakub INEC still went ahead and declared Haruna winner of that election. Upon the protest by the PDP, they did not remember supplementary, rerun, and all those nonsense you are hearing now. They went ahead and declared him winner. And they told us to go to where? Tribunal. What you should have done was to declare the governor-elect the winner of the election. Then and tell them also, like you told us, to go to tribunal. Because it means that the INEC is not truly independent. It means that when pressure of the ruling government is brought to bear on them, because let us break it down. This is an election, the vice president has gone there and started his market, the funding something, 10,000 he was giving to them. Why go there to give them that money 3 hours to election? You could have continued in Imo, my place, where you have not done, or continued in Lokoja. Why must you go to Oshun, that is the home state of your former political godfather?
Is that another form of vote buying?
To me, like I told you before, there are two types of vote buying, the direct and indirect. The direct one that happens in the polling and the one you are trying to influence the vote. Is it only him that did that? The president, that suddenly after Aribo Shala, his government has not paid over 3 years' salary. This man received Paris Club refund among the first time they made that month. Salary were not fully paid. Now he came back again, you give him 16.6 billion some weeks in the middle of the night to election. What are you trying to say? So he started clearing the salary backlog so that the people will say, okay, he's working. What happens in 3 years? You have not paid the money. Now, talk of Tinubu's, what Tinubu said there, even in citing comment that he made there. Why are we doing this? Because, let me say it, this election involves a godson of Tinubu, which is Aribo Shala. All of us know was his commissioner in Lagos. And there is also belief that Tinubu, their ancestral home is Oshun. And the man in question, Ayotola, is his cousin. So is it because the leader of the party, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, is involved? There's family relationship involved, and because the president desperately needs Oshun to show the opposition that, oh, we have defeated the people in 2019, your people are not going anywhere. That's why you are willing to bring all institutions of democracy to ridicule, and then telling us that because the 300 and something they say we're winning them. No, this is after they have battered the vote. They have battered this vote now. This vote, BBC, everybody had it on their website. But by the time they finished the cook, adding an addition and removal, this vote came to 350 something. Which still, at the end of the day, Adeleke still won them. Now, our major concern is that knowing fully well the desperation that have been applied in this election, how are we sure that what will turn out now is going to be free and fair? Knowing fully well that there was no reason, let me repeat this, that there was no reason, because the example they are citing, that once the vote in the area's election did not hold, is higher with the margin of defeat you go for this rerun. And I want to draw their attention to Ife North, I think, or South, where there was 350 something they say was overvoting. By saying overvoting, election have held in that place. Results counted, accreditation done, and then there's overvoting. The electoral act is clear, you cancel it. You don't go for a run. It's like a voided vote. It's like when somebody turns in between two logos. You now say, okay, let me give them another chance. Are you getting me? There was about 49,000 voided votes in that election. Then they should go and give those people a second chance. Or if somebody tears his ballot halfway, you give him a second chance. No, you cannot. Once voting has happened, accreditation has been done, and results announced, like overvoting results being announced, you cancel it. You don't say you include it in the run. Now, in Oshobo, election has also held and completed. I think the other person walked away with the result of the card reader. If there's any place that should be a rerun, it should be those areas that ab initio from scratch, from 8 a.m., there was nothing that happened, nothing happened, then you can give those people a chance if you want to. So, if they have minus all those areas, you can see, and then added those votes that we are still insisting we are not calculated right, the margin will be clear that there's no need for you to have done the rerun. But they deliberately did this miscalculation left, right, and center. And I'm even being told that the 3,500 is not even the total number. When you calculate it, you recalculate the 7 polling units they're talking about. So all this calculation error it all boils down to one thing: to give a second chance to a man who has been defeated. And that is why I have serious concern about the outcome of this process. That is all. That they don't want to respect it because it involves the opposition, and they have done it, in Kogi and in some other places. No, why is it that now that involves? And let me tell you another thing. Up to this moment, the total number of people that collected PVC in those 7 polling units, the total number is not 3,005 something that they are saying. That is the total number of registered voters. What I had expected, INEC, which some days ago they were attacking the press release, the CUPP release, that is baseless. How can you say my release is baseless? I am telling the world that as of this moment, I have not been given the list of people who have collected PVCs in these areas for me to know the actual people who will participate or who are participating in this election, because you are going by PVC. So we're not going to go by number of registered voters. You can use number of registered voters to do to calculate your rerun purposes. But for the actual voting, it's not 3,000 something, because it is only the people who have collected their PVC that can vote. Tell us the number, because we are hearing rumors that people are tampering with uncollected PVC. And you say I should produce evidence. My evidence is that you have not given me the list of PVC people who have collected PVC in these areas. And you have released the list of people who have collected PVC in Osun. So give me that breakdown with which you arrive at the total calculation, so that we know that, okay, if it is 800 people, or 1,000 people, or 1,500 people, that the vote in question that we are struggling for is 1,500. So there's no election that will go outside 1,500. But with this uncertainty now, you can come up tomorrow and they say it's 2,500. Because somebody knows that it is practically impossible to cover the 300 and something that we are leading them with and then top a winning number. And that's why you see this muchi thing going on. I have seen the coalition is everybody's coming together, because this process is important. This election is important, not just to us as opposition, but to the people of Osun who have not received salary for over 3 years, to somebody who have been receiving high salary since 8 years now. These people need an opportunity to earn their living decently, and the economy needs to come back again. Not an economy that will control by Lagos, a man who will, even after supporting the ravaging of that economy, come back and tell you in your front that he's richer than Osun State. These people need liberation, and that is what our people have given to them. And now they want to dabura this process with all this muchi you are seeing left, right, and center.
Now, can you tell us a distinctive difference between what happened in Osun State and what happened in Kogi State? Because we know that during the rerun election, in Kogi State, there were also discrepancies as far as numbers and figures were concerned. Now, can you tell us what is the difference? Why was Kogi State not declared inconclusive, and now Osun is declared inconclusive?
That is the point I'm still making, and I have given you the facts. I said, first of all, the APC scored 26,000, the PDP had 14,000, and there was 12,000 difference. And now INEC announced that the number of cancelled votes is 19,000. Now, what it means that the winning margin, which is 12,000, any of them would have covered it. Because if you minus 12,000 from 19,000, you still have almost 7,000 or more than 7,000 or 8,000. I don't know this thing. So, knowing that there's still over 8,000 to be struggled for, why do you now go ahead to declare a winner? They did it deliberately because the governor of Kogi State, Yahya Bello, was also putting pressure on them. The APC was putting pressure on them because they thought they feel like, oh, we cannot win, we cannot lose. We must prove to Mr. President that we can deliver. And that's why they put pressure on INEC, and INEC announced it. There is no justification on human head for INEC to have announced it if what they're telling is in Osun is the right thing. And now you come to Osun where there is a 350 something, an election that have been completed. You saw what the people went through, the issues that was involved, and you saw what your staffs did. So in that case, the credibility of the election as it has to do with coalition is even in doubt. All you would have done was to reduce this tension. And let me say this. In 1983, when the MPN was on rampage and entered into the Southwest, the old Southwest, trying to bring their interest to bear, working with the INEC of that particular moment to dabra the wish of the people of Ondo, including Oshoba and all this other area. You saw what happened when they suddenly announced a figure that was not what the people voted for. That was how the Wild West started. The mandate declared with Moboriwo. Did he take the mandate? The man has to run for his life in the boot of a car. So they should not return us to something that will make the Wild West a child's play. Because when you tamper with the will of the people, deliberate tampering with the will of the people, using the institutions of the state, you are pushing the people to the wall. And you cannot have faith in a system whether it's a security agency or in a commission that abuses their oath of office and then deduct your figure and you tell me to have confidence in that person, never will you have confidence in that kind of person because you are destroying the trust with which all of us have surrendered to whatever INEC does or security agencies. I should be able to trust you. I should be able to loyal to you. But when you, that institution that has a sacred responsibility, turns to be the person, doing the same thing the opposition or the ruling government is supposed to be doing, then you are pushing the people to the wall. You are giving them a small option. You are supposed to be neutral. And I have expected INEC, knowing the shame their EOs has brought in Ayedede Elujie, to tread with caution and ensure that this process ends in a transparent and free and fair manner.
Now, let's look at the sections of the Constitution that has to do with, inconclusive election as far as Nigeria is concerned. I know of Section 179 of the Constitution. Now, you are also, a legal practitioner and also an analyst. Can you break down what that section really means as far as, declaring an election results are concerned?
You see, it's only in Nigeria that people will see something that is threat and they continue to run around. Section 179, subsection 2A and B, there is nothing conflicting. There is nothing, big about it. To start with, the Supreme Law. It's like the KBAC. These other laws, like electoral act, like ballots and all those things, they bow at the supremacy of the KBAC, which is the Constitution. That is the sacred law that you must take. If you don't like, you appeal to God. Now, the Constitution have said, for one to be duly returned as a governor, that he must have scored majority of the lawful votes that have been cast in that election. And he must have scored 1/4 of 1/3 of the vote, which is 20 of the Elujie in the case of Osun. That is clear. All these things they're talking about, the subsidiary legislation of electoral act, that is secondary. If any law at any time is inconsistent with the provisions of the Constitution, to that extent is null and void. Well, let's accept their INEC regulations and guidelines, because they are quoting a provision that said INEC has powers to make regulation and guidelines. The question is, what was this regulation? You said in areas where election did not hold. And also, this regulation is also guided by the judgments of the Supreme Court that have said that once an election is cancelled, in the case of Osumba versus Oshomole in 2007, when a cancel vote was later ascribed to PDP Osumba, when Oshomole went to the court, said you cannot, that vote is dead. It's like the vote is on the floor, you can't bring it up again. It's like a voided vote. And they removed it, and that's how they declared, what's his name, Oshomole, governor of Edo State. So if they have been overvoting, which have been cancelled, and there have been also a completed voting process in Oshobo before they ran away with the matter, which have been cancelled, you should not have added it to the areas that the run is going to hold. By adding them to those areas, you're bringing them to life. That has vitiated the run. Those two additions, even if you said there was no voting at all in the other remaining parts, are you getting me? But these ones you added, that is clear that you said it was over voting in Ife North or South, or where you have 300 and something, and this other one. This one has vitiated this rerun, because that's why I'm happy the PDP has gone to court. Apart from going to face them on this remaining process, going to court is also to have a window to address these anomalies that they have done. But my brother, I have to be honest with you. Are we supposed to be panicking and raising tensions over one single state? This is one single state. And we're talking about 2019, when 120,000 polling units will be in question, 360 federal constituency, and 109 Senate seat on the same day. If these people cannot conduct an ordinary isolated election that has no state assembly, if they can continue to bring all these jargons up and down, the validly announced result, do you think these people can take us to the battle of 2019? Or is this country going to be a reenactment of 1983? Because at the end of the day, there is Senate election, there is rep going with the presidency. If by the time you tamper with this thing you did in Ayedede, the man running for rep will be at war with you. The man running for Senate will be at war with you. He may not even wait for the presidential result to be announced. By the time you ignite these fires in 360 federal constituencies, you're going to dabra our constitutional democracy. And like I said before, I can understand APC's desperation. They want to win. They want to show us that they can win us in 2019. But what is INEC's business in tampering with the figure? What is INEC's business in not giving us the total number of PVC collected in those areas? What is INEC's business in allowing or continuing the process after security agencies or talks have chased away an agent of one of the political, like they did in Oshobo Ward 4, when they chased the PDP agent out? Why do you need to continue that process? They should, because if you remove an agent, and you now bring up a figure that is concordant, nobody will believe that. This figure starts changing when you chase out the agent. This thing happens in most of the ward collection places in Oshobo. Now, INEC owes us a duty to, by their conduct, show that they are transparent and they can guarantee enabling environment for all of us. Not that we don't appreciate what they have done. We appreciate what they have done in improving distribution. I've been told that the NK man have released even sensitive material a day before. That is good. And that's why you saw the materials at the right place at the right time by 8 a.m. But that notwithstanding, you see in the election, no matter how good your voters register look, no matter how timely the electoral materials return, no matter how good the voting cubicle looks, if at the end of the day, the collection, which is the addition and removal of figure, is messed up, either added or subtracted, you see all these things you're saying you have done, they become useless. Nobody remembers you for that. They will crucify you, and that's what happened. Ordinary addition, because addition goes to the very foundation of election, because if somebody removes 1,000, you can see what the damage it can do to somebody's victory. This election is too close to call. So if you remove 100 or 200, somebody is going to literally die because of that. So knowing how sensitive it is, you should consider your collation as more important than all that you have done in preparation for the election, and guide it jealously. And I think they didn't guide it jealously. That's why you see all these, confusions and crises. But I also salute the people of Osun that didn't go to the street. Not in every place, people who, by the time they saw the man who went to go and tear that thing and deduct 1,000, maybe they would have chased them out of that Osogbo collection center. But I thank God that everything went peaceful. But you cannot continue to take the people's patience for granted. You do this all the time, you tell them, oh, go to tribunal. Which tribunal? Why will you tell me to go to tribunal when you can do the right thing on this table? And this is the problem we are having.
Now, let's look at the constitutional implication of INEC's action, in this governorship election. Like you rightly proceeded, that if we have all of this back and forth, we're likely to hit a brick wall in 2019. Now, what is the position of the Constitution when some of its laid down rules are being tampered with? Well, because the Electoral Act has made a provision that once this dispute arise about election, especially post-election issues, you go to the tribunal. So, but the point I'm making, yes, there is tribunal to address this post-election issue, and there's the regular court to address the pre-election issues. Must somebody commit impunity? Must somebody commit electoral evil and tell his fellow Nigerians to go and exercise the option of a tribunal, to go and hire lawyers so that they're looking for injunction and counter-injunction? Is that fair? If your table can do the right thing, do you as a commission allow, like for instance, when they deducted the 1,000 vote, will it be fair to tell the people, okay, go to the tribunal, when you know that the result having been pasted at Ayedede LUGA, going by the letter act, nobody can tamper with it except the tribunal? So why are you turning it the other way around to tell the man you have hurt illegally to go to the tribunal? Our constitution and our law has made that adequate. It is the politicians and the electoral commission that are creating this problem. There is nothing wrong with the 1999 constitution on the electoral act on addressing electoral grievances. They are very clear, they are very fantastic. They have even improved in terms of seeing that matters are disposed within 180 days. But it is the politicians who now know, because they are just opportunity, they tell you, okay, I will rob you and rape you electorally here, go to tribunal. And that is the method and the element I don't like about what happened in Osun. Telling people to, okay, you can make use of the tribunal when you can do the right thing, when you can declare the results, when you would have said, okay, stop, let us recalculate. They would have, there's enough time, would have recalculated. But, when somebody raises an objection, all you need to do, this thing have from, the first form that started from the polling unit. You call for it. Please, can I have the polling unit result of these areas? You check it with the word collection one, you check it with the LUGA one, and you check what the man in Osogbo has added. This can be sorted out in 2 hours. But then you now say, okay, let's leave it, let's go to tribunal, because you have written it down. Was it cast on stone? Check the main sheet where these things are coming from. So this is why I said it has a larger implication on 2019. Because now, the opposition is very confident of victory. Somebody can say, oh, yes, that's our belief. We are working hard, and the people are with us, and the people also agree. We are confident of victory. Now, imagine when we get to 2019, and we are winning, and you see people start cancelling in some areas we are winning, so that they will weaken us, and then possibly go for another rerun if we're the one topping them. You can get your finger burned with that. Because not everybody may be patient like Osun for you to do that kind of abracadabra to him. So let us see election as a platform for Nigerians to choose among their fellow Nigerians who will lead them. There's nobody who is coming here to rule us from Afghanistan or Congo. It is still all of us. So let's not start seeing ourselves as us and them. We're just one nation. Let's come together, do an election, and anybody can lead this country. After all, when we fought President Goodluck Jonathan, even with the abnormality in our victory at that moment, because in most of the victory we had, there was incident form that was used over 80%.
So some of those victories were even questionable, from Katsina to Kano to all this area. Who got those victories? But Jonathan respected it. He had to go. He didn't start to argue. Imagine if he had started all this argument like in our show. You know what would happen in Nigeria? The crisis, the tension. But he said, even with things that I'm supposed to raise objection, I concede to you. Take and go, if that is the wish of the Nigerian people. And that's how this thing went. Now, the way these people are going, they make me to start feeling, are you sure if we're winning them, that they will be willing to let go, or that they will burn down a collection center, or they will, cancel some areas and say election is inconclusive, and throw this country into a huge constitutional and electoral crisis? So I want our fellow brothers and sisters who are in APC to show some restraint. And also, I need to understand that this election is very delicate to the unity and oneness of this country. This, whether you like it or not, the poverty level is rising. People are angry. We should be discussing the real issues, not just about election. Because at the end of the day, what is the greater glory that should come from election? It is to serve the interests of the ordinary man and fulfill the provision of Section 14, which is protection of lives and property. Are we protecting the lives and the property? Are we advancing their economic and social interests? Are we building the nation? Are we uniting it? Now we're talking about victory, election victory, loser or winner. When these things are over, what is the impact on our people? Today, 3 years down the line, that we brought the government that we have disassociated ourselves from. Nigeria today is the poverty capital of the world. Is that an achievement? Theresa May says it's 85 million people that are poor, and that you require 50,000 jobs every 24 hours. And actually, was there 50,000 jobs yesterday and today? What are we discussing? You want to remove Saraki without going to the provision of Section 50 that requires 73 senators? You want to lock up Zakzaki in detention? You want to grant a unity fund where people are supposed to, petty issues that we keep pushing and leave the primary responsibility, which is the economic well-being of our people. And that's where the opposition is coming to say, we don't want to be part of this. We want to change things. We want to come and bring a government of national unity that will protect the economic interests of our people and realize the primary responsibility of government, which is the protection of lives and property.
Now, in all of this, what are the implications? Because either we like it or not, the people are the ones that are affected, because these are the people that will go under the rain, under the sun to cast their vote. These are the people that will, observe vigil to protect their votes. And at the end of the day, their wishes are not being, reflected, on the results of any of these elections. What implications does this stand, to bring, on the Nigerian electorate and on our democracy?
It is putting it on the path of complete collapse. It is putting it on the path of hopelessness. Because at the end of the day, when the energy that you are moving into wrong things are high, when the interests of the people are secondary, because politicians want to get to office and also want to consolidate the office and keep their job, what do you see? 50,000 jobs will not be created in a day, because the people who are supposed to be thinking and in the room bringing strategies with which 50,000 jobs will come every day for us to reduce the 85 million job problems. Yeah. Now, those people are busy planning Oshun. They are busy charging people for armed robbery in Offa. The other ones are busy charging people for trying to commit suicide. And when they put all this, their energy, the other ones may not have WAEC, the other ones may not have youth service certificate, and they tell them resign, they say they won't resign, or the other ones will take money meant for IDP. When politicians continue to do all these things, they will not see that to create 50,000 jobs per day to reduce the deficit of 85 million that we have. At the end of the day, who is suffering? The people. But the greatest loser is not just the people. It is the institution of the republic. Because at the end of the day, if 85 million people are poor, in that case, the people that are going to born in the next 2, 3, 5, 10 years are going to be born into poverty. Yeah. So if, let's say, 20 or 30% of these people give birth, there's likelihood that 30 million people in the next 5, 10 years will be added to the poverty ladder. Yeah. At the end of the day, it will get to a point where the number of people that are poor are higher in number. What will they do? They will oppress the rich. That's when you have crime, raping, killing, and maiming. They will rob and scatter. That's why if you park your car somewhere in Abuja, they will break the door, the glass, and they collect whatever you have. Because what do you expect? Man must eat. And you people, they feel that you people that have these cars are the ones who are taking what belongs to all of them. So they will be taken from you. That's why in most homes in Asokoro or Abuja, they will jump through the fence when you travel, go into your house, carry little things like TVs and gas cooker, because when they carry it, they go and give you these Panteka people for 10 naira so that they can eat. It's about to eat. So if we're going to a level where what our citizens are struggling to do is to steal or rob just to put something in their stomach, then the future, I can tell you, is very, very bleak and very dangerous for our people. And politicians need to redirect and refocus their energy that the election is about platform to serve. And when you get in that platform, keep to your oath of allegiance and understand that the welfare of the people should be paramount, and not this argument of remove him, impeach him, declare his seat vacant, so that what will happen? None of these things is happening in our democracy. Or when you decide to disrespect judgments of court, you're not building the institutions of the judiciary. So this place is gradually turning into a political jungle because people are now desperate to do what Nkurunziza of Burundi are doing, or Mobutu Sese Seko used to do in Zaire, or what do you call him? The man in Cameroon, Paul Biya is doing. About keeping to power. That's why you can see them. Some of them, you need to help them to walk up to the stage and they say, I say want to rule. That's what Mugabe was doing before they chased him out of that place. So if at the end of the day we do the same thing that Nkurunziza and all these infamous and inglorious leaders are doing in their places after 100 years of nationhood, then I can tell that we are not growing, that we are sinking.
Now, can you draw a comparison between what is obtainable now and what happened in 2015 when the previous administration was in power? What comparison can you draw in the elections and the outcome of the results and all of that, and the final acceptance of defeat by President Goodluck Jonathan?
First of all, there was tension in 2015, but there is times it will get to a particular point, Jonathan will apply the brake. I use the example of when Tambuwal came to the APC. There was some tension, there was locking of the gate and literally, but after that day he crossed that line, Jonathan pulled back and let it go. The people who left Saraki, the other people who joined the PDP, David Mark managed it very well. At the point they have to pull the brake. I think more was said on the campaign trail than action in terms of, exchanging the political banters and words and all those things. Jonathan's wife was accusing left, right, and center. Lai Mohammed was accusing. I think there was no much violence. There was no much use of state forces. Even the DSS was talking more than attack. Marina Oga was what they call. Yeah, they were the only attack they made was when they raided one of the centers where they said they were cloning candidate. But apart from that, they were not whisking people. They were not disobeying judgment of the court. They were more of you did this, I did this, and they were exchanging words left, right, and center. And at the end of the day, we had a peaceful election, and the man accepted defeat because he didn't want the country to slide to crisis because he has reasons to raise objection about some of the figures. But in this case, it's not just a exchange of if you even open your mouth to say anything, you know the place you're going to land. Journalists are even kept in detention for 2 years. These are things that Nkurunziza of Burundi or Paul Biya would do. I can imagine that in the 21st century Nigeria that have been on the path of nationhood for 100 years, you can take John Saburi that did not commit a capital offense and keep him in detention 2 years. And somebody is justifying it. I saw the man when they released him, he was so skinny. I can't believe that because of the fracas between the worshippers, the Shiite people, and the chief of army staff, even after some of them were killed, you can still also keep their leader in detention for over 2-3 years. I can't believe that the Dasuki, after he was granted bail, you are willing to abandon the trial to continue persecution by keeping him in detention ad infinitum. So you can see the difference, that there seems to be an application of a force that is not in tandem with our constitutions and pronouncements of court. You can see that there's deliberate obstruction of justice, that Attorney General will tell you reason why they cannot obey a judgment of a court. That is cool. That is treason, because you have overthrown the sacred principles of constitutional governance. If you cannot obey judgment of a court, if you cannot obey the dictates of our constitution, then what do you call it? Democracy? It's no longer a constitutional democracy. So it's good if you don't want, then let them go and proclaim it a military democracy. But if it is democracy, it is built on the principle of rule of law, supremacy of the law, not supremacy of the ideas and interests of one leader. You cannot have a human leader that you want people to worship as an institution. Okay, if Buhari is the most honest man in human earth, and I ask you when he is gone, because there will be a day he will go. So what happens when you get another one that is a criminal, when you don't have institutions? The only thing that saves nations and saves democracy and constitutional governance is institutions. That's why in America, in UK, when people misbehave, the institution is structured such that even an officer of law that is a junior can detain you there. Today, you see the Attorney General of US and the prosecution officer, what they are banting with Trump. If it's in Nigeria, with the Attorney General exchange just words with the president, will they investigate him without the party leaders and DSS going after the person? Because these people have built institutions. So when the president commits an infraction, it doesn't matter. The department that is in charge will investigate, and if you are found wanting, you will be tried, impeached, and prosecuted and removed out of the way. But if it is APC that is in the US today, will those Trump stars be facing what they are facing, including the ones who have already been jailed? So if we don't build the institutions, not because of Buhari, if we don't build the institutions, you see all these things we are doing since our nation founding father got independent, is the worst, because we will not go anywhere. Because it's only one leader comes, he talks about how good he is. When he got another one will come. Will you keep having good leaders? So the only way to check human being is institutions. That's why we must be. That's why must be law. That's why even in the Bible, God did not allow us to keep moving because He knows we will not obey. That's why He gave us a commandment and told you that there's consequences when you don't obey the commandment. So it's for you. You can obey or not obey, but there's a consequence, and that guided human being up to this particular moment. So there is constitution, there is law, and there is consequences. When people breach law and you refuse to apply the consequences, then you are doing the greatest disservice to democracy and to institutions of democracy and our constitutional governance. And that's what you have today.
Is INEC truly independent?
At this moment, I would say yes or no. Yes, in the sense that I am seeing some improvement that the INEC chairman is bringing on board. No, but because I can see some danger signs that have emanated in Rivers and in Osun, which are worrisome. So it's still a 50-50 issue, and I hope in the days ahead that INEC chairman should be able to rein in those stages, some staff that are habitual election criminals, like the one that happened yesterday. These ones have whatever you like. They're like civil servants in what they do. Whenever you finish blowing your grammar in Abuja, they will connect with some local politicians and dabura your process. That's why you see it in Rivers. That's why you see it in Osun and all those areas. Even in Bayelsa, when they produced, they had is it 20,000 registered voters and the entire 20,000 voted. Remember in the Southern Bayelsa at that time. So all those kind of funny things are done by INEC staffs in connection with maybe the returning officer. So the chairman has to now know that the biggest threat, whatever he's doing, is not about Abuja and him. It's about these people they have as EOs, as collation officers, and this one they bring in as returning officers. He needs to put more pressure. He needs to devise more ways of reining them in. And also to help them to be truly independent. The president must sign the 2018 amended electoral that the parliament is sending to him. Sign it because that will help INEC to have more powers and more discipline on their people, and also help to limit the manipulative loopholes that these people are using, especially like the electronic transmission of accreditation, electronic transmission of result. If there have been electronic transmission of accreditation and result, what you saw in Ayedede and Oshobo won't be having that argument. All INEC would have done was to call back the back end of what was sent from the polling and say, okay, this is the actual figure, and we'll wrap it up. There won't be any problem. And there's a provision in the law that if what you transmitted is not the actual thing that happened with which the people were given, that's the actual outcome of the election, there is 2-year sentence for that electoral officer. So when electoral officers and these guys from youth service know that if you do this thing for one chief in that area, then you will be prosecuted and you go to jail. People will now sit up and stop all this nonsense that are doing.
Do you think that will make INEC truly independent?
It will help. Not only truly independent, because let me tell you why it will help them being independent. If politicians see that there's no other way, they can't pay you to change this figure, the pressure will reduce. Because now, why are you putting him under pressure? The result you want to change on the way to Oshobo has already been transmitted. So
are you sure the politicians will not devise another means? Because we know that INEC came out, to ban smartphones at polling point, in Osun State. But we still saw some element of vote buying.
Yeah, but I can tell you that the vote buying was reduced in the last election. It wasn't like it was in where they were proud, vote and show. You snap and show, you collect your money from somebody under one man, go three. But this one, people were, you can see that they were hiding today, but it wasn't as bad as it was in Ekiti. That notwithstanding, at least this electoral process getting better is a gradual process. Sign the law so that this aspect will get over it. And then once other challenges are coming up, it keeps being addressed. It cannot be addressed in one day. But I strongly believe that the 2018 amended electoral act will solve 40% of the problem and give us free and fair elections.
Okay, quickly let's talk about the electoral act, that the National Assembly transmitted to the executive, and the president, withheld his assent. I know you've gone through it, and the issues raised by the executive. Do you think those issues are substantive enough for him not to sign?
You see, I don't know how to say it, but to us in the CUPP, the president is being, I don't know how to put it. He's not being serious about making Nigerians have a credible election. See our reason. There was the first bill that was sent to you. My brother, the president is not the one reading this. There's lawyers in the Ministry of Justice who go through it. I read this things over a night. So there's a team of lawyers. They can read it a week or 2 weeks. No, so let's say that they will eat one and take one chicken wings. They read one and take one chicken wings. In 2 weeks, they should finish reading. I get me. But it took them. President waited for 30 days. I know what this is, just like what lawyers do in court. You're supposed to file your motion paper in the morning. You wait, you file inside the court, and you serve them inside court. What are you trying to do? So you delay the hearing so that they give you another day, so you'll be buying time. Now, I didn't expect a president that claims that he's committed to credible election. That time, the president said, okay, please go through this. Let's see if there's any issue. You waited on the 30 days when this thing is expiring. You send it back and say you have notice and error. You're not being sincere. Then what did they do? They amended the error and then sent to you. Then instead of you going through it fast again, You waited again, traveled to China, did all that thing you are doing, waited midnight or the 30th, you say, I find out that there's a sequencing problem. Can you look at it again? Now see, he has wasted almost over 3-4 months. Now Parliament have decided to delete even some of the arguments raised like sequence of election. Appeal court have said Parliament have power. But Parliament did not go to say, okay, let's put it back. Because they don't want us to start arguing. They don't want to give him an excuse again not to sign. Parliament, even with that judicial victory, still deleted Section 25 for sequence of election. They remove it for him. So you can see that on the side of the Parliament, there is this commitment and this eagerness and this, determination to see this electoral act come to be. But on the side of the president, there have not been any push other than, like those in the extension-seeking lawyers. Every day you wait till the morning, you now say this. Now, I've been told by the leadership of our people in the parliament, because the CUPP still controls the parliament. Our leaders have told us that they have finished work on this amendment. Once the parliament reconvene on October 9, they will, make the resolutions to wrap it up, and they will send to him. Our prayer is that let Mr. President not this time around say that the color with which the paper was printed is green instead of white. Let's just hope that he will look at it and then sign it, and Nigerian people can have free and fair election. It will benefit his children. It will benefit generation after his children. It's not just about him. It mustn't be about him.
Now, if all of this that you've stated today is anything to go by, why do you now think that the executive is not willing to sign this Electoral Act into law? What is responsible?
It's very simple.
Is it because of the back and forth between the National Assembly and the executive?
No. It's very simple. There have been, I don't know, is it political self-preservation? Let me tell you why. And I challenge INEC also to come up with this. Go and ask INEC to give you the analysis of the 2015 election. In that analysis of 2015 election, you see a place like Kano that you see over 1.8 million votes. Yeah. What the actual cadre that there was used, record there was less than 600 and something thousand. Go to Castina, where you have over 1.4 million votes. The actual thing the candidate did recorded before they started using incidents from is maybe about 400,000. At the end of the day, you can see that over 80% of the figures entered did not come through the candidate. It came through incident form. And what is this incident form? Oh, they said that the candidate is not working. Or they say it's not recognized. Then they give you that form, you fill, they give you card, you vote. So the people they gave that incident form to fill and vote, they are saying that it's about 1 million and. Are you getting me? 1 million and people that they get that form. Even when I know that none of those people in it have those numbers of form. What does politicians do now? They go and write figures, and they say that it is incident form, and they back it up and fill it up. So you can see that maybe somebody who is scared of losing 2019 election, or who feels that the region where he comes from, that if the candidate is working, he may not actually get up a particular number that he will need, may want not to see this electoral come into effect, so that we will not use card reader. So what are we going to use? We'll bring out incident form, and Ghana will produce another 1.8, maybe this time around 3.8 million like Ganduje is saying.
Is our democracy in danger?
If you ask me if is he in danger or is he already being endangered left, right, and center, he's already inside the danger. What was I saying? How do we, like a bull in a China show, how do we guide it out of danger? He's already inside the danger. The danger signs is left, right, and center. So how do we, guide it out of that danger and then arrive safely in 2019? And that's why I asked my colleague, Chairman Shomole, to call his party members to apply caution, and that's why I asked INEC to discipline their staffs and ensure that they do not do anything that would abort our march to 2019. If all of us apply caution and understand that at the end of the day, it's about service to our people, it's about the unity of the country and oneness of the country and the progress of the black race. If we all understand this and have it at the back of our mind, then there will be no need why we should go to war instead of election in 2019.
Now, what do you expect, the outcome in the rerun that is coming up on Thursday?
On the issue of the rerun, I don't have any doubt as to what would be the performance of the PDP and the coalition. Because already, if you look at the votes of the coalition put together, our allies in SDP, in ADC, and in other parties, you will see that we have over 400,000. So that if we have applied the CUPP option we want to apply at the presidential level, the election would have been won even before the campaign will start. But that notwithstanding, the PDP candidate was able to pull out of those divisions and still defeat the incumbent. Now that 2/3 of the people in the coalition have already said, like my political party that came 7th in the election, we already signed up for what is going on. We're all coming together to back the PDP candidates because this victory is already close to home. We need to back him and bring the victory into our home so that we can face this people in 2019. So I can tell you categorically that if a not, if a hard, these are strongholds of the coalition allies, the ADC, the SDP, the side of Oshobo, the ADC also is strong. So if we go by what we are doing right now, The outcome of this election, I can tell you, categorically and strongly today, the PDP guy will still have an upper hand. But my concern is this: will they apply the rules of the game? Will they ensure that the candidate is expressly used and not the incident form? Would they please tell us the number of PVC before we even start voting so that some strange things will not come up? Would they assure that the people come with PVC, that the candidate could not read, that they will not be allowed to vote? Once all these things are put in place and we are assured, I can tell you that there's nothing to worry about, because we're already leading with to get 350-something votes before you even talk of defeating us is like going to Katanga.
Now, in all of this, summing it up, where do we stand in 2019 as a nation, democratically, with all of the quagmires that we find ourselves in?
We are standing on a bridge that have two options. One, to continue on the line of ethnic and religious division. And a bridge, the other side, that offers a leadership that will unite and rebuild the economy. These are the three major things we are running on. To unite our people. Because now our people are so divided on ethnic and religious line, you can see it. Our economy is in bad shape. Today, this place is the poverty capital of the world. India has come out of it now, we have taken over. Today also, our people are not secure, which is the primary responsibility of government. From Zamfara, the bandits are killing villages, which everybody is seeing. In Taraba, they are killing on the Mambila Plateau, what they call it. In Plateau, they are there. In what they call it, Nasarawa, they are there. Local gangs are in the east. Local gangs are in the southwest. Or Bado. Everybody, get up anything you like, you do to your brother. Now, this bridge contains the killing going on. It contains this place remaining the poverty capital of the world. It contains disunity. The other side contains rebuilding the economy, uniting our people, and securing it. The choice is for Nigerian people. We have put this on the table, and they have seen it. It's not we opposition that is saying it. HSBC, which is one of the greatest banks in Europe and in Asia, have told you, even when they don't have any business here, HSBC have told you that if you people make the mistake of allowing the Buhari-led APC come back, that the economy will slide into complete economic hiatus. What the Economic Forum report has said, that in terms of electricity generation, we are the worst. Yemen is above us. The World Index report, the Justice report has said that this place, also the World Press report has said this place is on red zone. They are not lying. We are seeing it now. Was Abiri not in detention for 2 years? Is there press freedom? Has the media house not been demolished? Had media houses not been stifled not to air opposing views? So this is it's not something that people generated. And the Brooklyn Institute have said the final one, that here is the poverty capital of the world. Theresa May, even when he visited them, still told them that 85 million of your people are poor, and you need 50,000 jobs every 24 hours to come out of it. And instead of APC calling a summit on how they can generate 50,000 jobs per day, they are busy chasing things that are considered irrelevant. And that's why if you see the Rand Merchant Bank, when they released the report on investment attractiveness, Nigeria used to be 4th. They now say Nigeria is 9th. In that case, Nigeria is no longer getting, it's not an attractive zone for investment in Africa. Now, places like South Africa and Ghana is above us. You can see what Ghana did, their recent airport, which is like a world-class airport. Ghana that don't have almost up to 25 million people, that doesn't even have, serious revenue. Now their revenue formula from tourism is growing. Our people are going there, and this place is sinking. So the real issues are not being discussed, and that is why I tell the people, their vote will make the difference. Their vote will decide which of the bridge you want to go. If all of you want to go this side, then it will slide, and everybody will go into that insecurity, into that crisis, into that disunity. But if you want a glorious nation, those nations that Nnamdi Azikiwe, Tafawa Balewa, Ahmadu Bello dreamt of, those ones they fought for, with which they went to London to sign the agreement to bring the independence of this place, to respect that motion of independence moved by Enohoro in 1959. If you want those glorious visions these people have to come to be, then you look for a side that will unite the country. A side that will see the country as one constituency, not 95.5% constituency. A side that will show that this place is no longer the poverty capital of the world. And a side that will show that the man in Zamfara, who the bandit is killing and raping, is secure. The man in Plateau, whose means of livelihood is being destroyed, is secured. Then you have to go to this side. And that is the side I can boldly tell you that the CUPP is offering.
Finally, in all of this, the 2019 general election is key and paramount to keeping Nigeria as an entity. Who is your president in 2019? What qualities would you like to see in your president in 2019?
This is a topic I always like to talk about, happily. First of all, we don't have any particular candidate in the coalition. The coalition has 40 political parties. About 20 of them are feeding presidential candidates. After you finish feeding your presidential, we'll go into what you have, or call like the conclave, like you have in Vatican, where the 49 party leaders will sit, and among these 49 parties, both the over 40 parties, both the PDP, the SDP, the AD, all of them, the most important is that these parties will finish the individual party program, which is ongoing. Yeah. SDP is about to do their own, PDP is about to do their own. When they've finished, we'll go into the conclave and we'll anoint one person as the grand candidate of the grand coalition. And let me tell you something that has been put on the table that is clear. That our grand coalition candidate will be a man, mark what I tell you today, that will unite the country. Will be a man that will rebuild the economy. Will be a man that will secure the lives and property of our people. Will be a man who is of moderate faith, whether from Islamic faith or Christian faith. Will be a man who is a link between the old and the new generation. A man who is a friend in the south, a son in the east, and a brother in the north. That will see Nigeria as one indivisible entity, and that together we can achieve our collective dreams. And I tell Nigerians, when that candidate emerges, I can tell you that Nigerian people will know that the election is over even before we start.
Ikenga Ogochinye, political analyst, thank you so very much for finding our time to be here. You are so on fire today. Thank you so much for finding our time to be here. This is how much time will permit us on today's edition of the program Politics and You. We hope we've been able to bring you up to speed on political happenings in and around our country. You know what? Next week is going to be hotter than today, I promise you. All right, till we hit your screen again next week, stay out of trouble. And remember, Nigeria will definitely be great again. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.
Usual, I am excited today. Like, Ewa has done a whole lot for people. I'm not just his baby mama, I am his manager. And we all know that Wizkid had he had numbers of baby mamas. And
he said you don't need some leaders of the National Assembly.
The worst form of democracy is said to be better than the best form of military regime.
We are trying to build political blocks.
Just days after he defected from your party, I believe the politics taken too far.
Members of the new board of Police Service Commission.
You know, the thoughts of the fact that his seat should be declared vacant because
we have some states that have experienced, you know, some level of insecurity.
The headship or the leadership on the Senate or the House of Representatives.
But I have gone beyond that now, beyond partisanship.
I don't think a lot of you know the crisis in the NDC.
We know that the people of the country are getting more information about what is happening to us.
With what you know about the person, you can ask yourself.
But one of the things I've come to observe is that
I'm the Agbero. That made me like this Agbero.
He don't need PVC. He don't need PVC. Jesus. I was trying to convince him.
News emerged that Jones Abiri, a Bielsa-based journalist, is out on bail.
And there's nothing, of course, that makes them to have this guy.
As a citizen, first of all, every citizen has the right. What is happening in the society, what is happening everywhere around him.
From that day, Saraki knew that he was a madman in the APC.
He should ask his people who leaked the information. That is his business.
This is not the first time JSS was taking over the National Assembly.
It may be extremely very difficult to remove a Senate president.
But the question is the viability of most of these 91 political parties.
Of course, you can't prosecute without investigation.
It will be easier for you to have those people with the like minds to join you.
Sunana Yakubu, amma an fi sani na da Yaks. Abu mafi mahimmanci shine har yanzu muna zaune da kwayar cutar polio a kasar mu. Wasu sun san digon rigakafin polio, wato digo biyu da ake bada na baki, wasu kuma ba su san da haka ba. Wasu suna tunanin wannan digo guda biyu sau ɗaya kawai ya wadatar. Shin digo biyu ya wadatar? Bari mu bincika. Yaya aiki?
Lafiya kalau.
Digon mai guda biyu kawai zai isa soya kosai?
Ba zai isa ba.
To, ta ce ba zai isa ba. Ina zuwa. Na gode. Shin za ki amfani da digon nono guda biyu kawai ki dama fura?
A'a, ba zai yiwu ba gaskiya. Saboda nonon ne yake taimakawa wurin dama furan.
Na gode. Tambaya nake, shin digon ruwa biyu kawai zai isa haɗa shayi?
Ai ba zai yiwu a haɗa ruwa da shayi da digon ruwa biyu ba. Dalili kuwa ai ba zai isa mutum ba. Dole sai ya kai kaman kofi ɗaya.
Barka da.
Barka gare.
Da Allah tambaya nake so yi.
Allah sa na sani.
Shin digon man fetur wurin bika? Labai na wani.
Lafiya lau.
Kwayan gishiri biyu kadai. Shin zai isa ya sa naman nan daɗi?
A gaskiya ba zai isa ya sa naman nan daɗi ba. Sai an ɗan sa gishirin da yawa tukuna sannan a haɗa sannan ya garwaye naman har ya yi daɗi.
Na gode. Kuma yadda muka je, digo biyu kawai bai sa ya wadatar da wani abu mai ma'ana ba. Haka ma digon rigakafin polio, dole ne yaro ko yarinya su samu digo biyu akai-akai na rigakafin polio. Wannan digo biyu akai-akai shi zai wadatar wajen kare yaro ko yarinya daga kamuwa da cutar koko kowace irin cutar polio.
On topical issues as always, Nigeria right now. Come along.
Vamos, vamos.
Gaskiya wuta noma.
As it relates to the relationship.
So that's it. This is Nigeria right now. Hello. Action.
Yes, this is Nigeria right now with Dixon Irebu, and of course we're at Honorable Tony Nwolo's place. Tony Nwolo is the sponsor of the Not Too Young to Run bill. Honorable, thank you for having us. Thank you. You are very important to us right now. This is Honorable Tony Nwolo. Tony Nwolo is the sponsor of the Not Too Young to Run bill. Honorable,
thank you.
How did you manage to think out or even to convince yourself about sponsoring the Not Too Young to Run bill? Because the president in his democracy address talked about to sign that bill. That became an issue, and that's why we're here in your place.
Yeah, it was born out of the genuine passion to have the young people occupy our political space. There's been a great injustice done to the young people of this country. I feel we get to play in most other spheres, but you hardly see any of us, just few of us in the political space. So, and you know, if you think about the fact that most of the old people we have today all started when they were very young, and they've remained there.
Yeah.
I think that heightens the injustice.
But when they started, right, there was no law that enabled their emergence in the political space. So how did we need a law to get the young people in the political space?
The question you should ask is, why was there a law in the first place that should limit people from participating or being? If we agree in the Constitution, the drafters of the Constitution deemed it right that at 18 you're eligible to vote. Why didn't they also allow 18 to be voted for?
So, but in this bill, is 18 eligible to be voted for?
No, in this bill, 18 is not eligible, but we've reduced that, and we hope, it's my desire that somehow the next assembly will continue to improve upon this until we get it to that which is obtainable in most other climes. We're not saying that we're hoping to see an 18-year-old occupy the position,
but to leave the space for anybody to
why would you want
to aspire?
Good. Why would, what in their own thinking made them limit or set the limit they did?
But that will also be queried in the future when they come with, let's allow 18, since 18 is eligible to vote. Someone will also ask, what were they thinking? You know, even limiting 18.
How old was Gowon and Co?
Gowon was 29.
Even in the military when they started. So why is it that in the civilian, the democratic setting, you now have the age being applied? How old was Obasanjo? How old was T.Y. Danjuma?
How old was Ojukwu when he took us to war?
That's exactly my point. So why is it that when he now got to democracy, the drafters
limiting the
why do we have that? If not just an outright injustice to the young people of this country.
But I was also wondering that the president would have just announced on Democracy Day that congratulations, Nigerians, especially the young people, that the bill, you know, the Not Too Young to Run bill, I have assented to it. But this one is still another promise. And you're a member of the APC.
No, I'm a member of the PDP.
Oh, you're a member of the PDP?
Yes.
I asked because I thought it would have been a good gift for Democracy Day.
It's not bad. It's not late yet. If Mr. President has announced that in the next couple of days he's going to sign the bill, it's good enough. If days run into weeks,
and weeks run into months,
then you begin to ask, why didn't you keep to your promise? But if Mr. President has simply said, in a matter of days, this could be tomorrow, this could be next tomorrow.
True.
This could be Saturday. We still have this week.
And this could be after May 2019.
No, I don't see that. I don't think that's what Mr. President meant when he said so. I would want us to, first and foremost, I want to commend Mr. President for that bold step. At the same time that I've commended the respective state assemblies that assented to the bill and the National Assembly itself for the support. This bill wouldn't have seen the light of the day without the National Assembly supporting it. The leadership of the both chambers stood by this bill. It made this bill break a record. It became the first bill that was hastily, it was the fastest to go through the second reading. In the history of the National Assembly.
But I'm also wondering, you're young, and how did you get to the political space? Because lots of young people do not care about politics. So with this bill right now, how will that...
Would I really agree with you that most young people don't care? I think they do. The problem is sometimes mentoring. Some young people they also need some form of direction, which is not a wrong thing. If from different formations, the churches, the mosques, our social gatherings, we begin to let people understand the need for them to participate actively in politics, because that lies the decision that would affect their future. You know, I think we have a vibrant young generation that are upwardly mobile, and all you need is just that thing, and they will key into it, and that's what we've seen with the Not Too Young to Run. Many young people have keyed in from different, funny enough, young Nigerians in different states persuaded their assemblies to ensure that this is passed. Most of them held rallies in many states.
Will you say the Not Too Young to Run bill, inspired the avalanche of young aspirants for presidential position?
We're seeing it already. It did. And the funny thing about it is that even the older politicians are now telling you that they are also not too young to run. Or they are telling you that they are not too young to run compliant. No,
not too young to run compliant.
Because I've seen in some posters that are coming out of. Yes. We're not trying to remove them from power. But what we're trying to do is also to let them understand that yes,
there should be room.
There should be space. Let that space be there for the younger generation. And let's begin to have that generational bridge where you can transfer some knowledge, wisdom of what you've acquired over the years to the younger people so that we don't have a lacuna at the end of the day.
Going by our own climate, going by the Nigerian environment, will you say it will be right for a young person to be president of Nigeria in 2019?
Why wouldn't it be right?
I ask because
if you ask
what experience are these young people? What
experience did Obasanjo bring to power when he
was a military man?
Yes, and then what makes military different from civilian?
They came through the barriers of the gun.
They came through the barriers of the gun. We are talking about leadership now, not how you came.
Yes.
Okay. So we're not talking about how you came.
Okay.
If you come through voting,
and
as a young person, you have responsibility. It's saddled upon you. Before I got to National Assembly, I didn't go for any formal training on how to be a lawmaker.
I'm also wondering how you made it from Lagos. You're not from Lagos State. You made it from. You are representing the Isolo
Federal Constituency.
Yes.
And
you're from Imo State.
Yes. Constitutionally, you are allowed to.
I know constitutionally, but I'm just wondering how you were able to find your way around all that had to do with the discrimination and all
the vibrancy of the young people. A young man can do a whole lot of things. You go out there, venture, and then put the rest in God. Do your own part. That's the most important thing I always tell people. God would always lead and direct those that call upon Him. You know why you want to get into a leadership position. Because if you see it as power, then that is what you're seeing it as. For me, I choose to see any office as a call to leadership.
Okay. Well, we'll come back. This is Nigeria Right Now with Dickson Iregbu. And of course, we have a young Nigerian, the sponsor of the Not Too Young to Run bill, Honorable Tony Nwolo. It's been engaging. And I'm sure that lots of young people out there are listening right now and probably dusting up whatever they should to join politics. If he could do it, why not? We'll be right back.
Nigeria Right Now, poised to engender patriotism.
I ask my colleagues, my friends, that I endorse this program, and I want them to continue to patronize this program so that people out there will know exactly what is happening to Nigeria right now.
I advise Nigerians all over to watch Nigeria Right Now.
Well done, and keep up the good work.
You're welcome back. This is still Nigeria Right Now with Dickson Iregbu, and we have the sponsor of the Not Too Young to Run bill, Honorable Tony Nwolo. He's been our guest, and we are reading out some of those areas that has to do with young people getting involved in politics and why we should, in fact, get involved. Honorable, I heard that you're aspiring higher. Is that true?
You're not wrong.
I'm not wrong. So this power thing, therefore, once you test it, you want to keep going?
No.
You're going for governorship ahead?
No, not when you test power, like I told you earlier. It's a call to leadership.
Who does this call? Is it the people?
No. Sometimes the people, like in my own case.
Yes.
I was far away in Harvard when young people organized themselves across the 27 local governments they came out in their thousands, in their droves. I was touched.
That's Imo now,
In
not
Imo
Lagos.
State. Imo State.
Yes.
You know, they came out, organized themselves. I can ask you to do your independent inquiry and investigation. The people that came out, I've never met any of them before. Not one. Not one of the individuals have I met.
They come out in thousands.
They came out in thousands. I was in Harvard when the pictures broke out.
Asking that what?
That I should return home and
home.
run for governorship in the States. I think the not too young to run thing also played a role and all that. You know, that's my own thinking actually, because I started, you know, why the whole thing? I know there had been talks here and there. Tony, come and run for governorship. Come and run for governorship, but. You know, the fact that the young people, why am I most touched about this? This demography are the most affected. The unemployed. Several things go on there that is wrong about the young Nigerians. A lot of them live in despair. Totally, they don't know what tomorrow seems to hold for them. So, and coming from a state like mine in Imo State, where everything has been awesome.
That's my state too. So.
Yeah, you know, so Imo State is not a state where you're called to come and run for governorship and you clap and that's true.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when somebody calls you, they understand the enormous job or task ahead. They know that the state needs to be salvaged. They know that the state is at the brinks of collapse. You understand? It's a state that is sinking deep.
But Honorable, you see, I'm wondering, why haven't we heard someone like you say something about
the administration?
Yeah, the kind of leadership that we have in the state.
It is very convenient for most politicians to do so.
So
run down people. No, I don't.
You don't?
No, I don't.
Even when you are in the opposition?
When I'm in the opposition, I believe that there are two things that would always happen to every person that finds himself in a position of leadership. One is that posterity will judge you when you're done. Two is that the electorates would have their votes to decide during the next poll. Those are the two things you can do. Other than that, the other constitutional things is if you think the person has committed impeachable offenses, then the State Assembly will do their job.
So when in the opposition, you couldn't engage, you couldn't make the government in power to like realize that people are watching.
But obviously,
because he got to a state where it's like a shameful day to come from Imo State.
Obviously, you know we have leaders that lead with impunity. We have rulers, not leaders. We have people that are power drunk. We have persons in power that appear to suffer from some hearing impairment.
Is that the way you would describe the current leadership in Imo State?
The current leadership in Imo State is, the only way I would describe it is something I told you. After he leaves office, posterity will judge you.
No, describe for me. You're from Imo State.
Yeah.
Are you appalled in any way by the state of things in your state?
Who shouldn't be?
If you are, what is the state? How will you describe the current leadership in Imo State? In your own words.
You know, I have seen people use clueless. I don't want to say clueless.
It's already said already.
Would I say rudderless? No. I think everything you're asking me is already out there in the public. In a state where pensioners are not paid, civil servants are not paid, infrastructure is decaying. Those that you inherited has decayed under you. And let me tell you one truth. When you talk about administration, like I said earlier, it is very convenient for any other person, most politicians, to sit down, take a swipe at to curry public sentiments. I am not that kind of politician. I am not focusing on what the current administration has done right or wrong. I am not going to go after him as an individual. If you strengthen the institutions will do their job. I don't think it's about going after people like most people do. Let me get into office and then I'll jail you. It is not you. You're not the state. We begin to understand that, yes, you're leading, but strengthening the institutions, the capacity to be able to even proactively stop most of the things. The governor is just one person. Let's not forget that. Away from the governor, you have the commissioners that should do their jobs.
The commissioners are not elected. The governor is
the
one
the commissioners are appointed.
Elected. Yes.
Are they doing their jobs?
If they are not doing their jobs, somebody should take responsibility.
You have the state assembly.
Yes.
That should be there to check the governor. What are they doing? What are they doing? So if you allow, if the institutions that are supposed to function, that are supposed to perform the oversight on the executive, not do what they are meant to do, then you have a total collapse of the system.
Okay, let's bring this.
Now you have a man that believes that he can call the whole shot because probably a whole lot of people are compromised. That is the truth about it.
Compromise. What is it that would be termed being compromised in politics?
Well, when we talk about compromise, it means when you leave what you're supposed to do at the state assembly to come begging for crumbs from the governor's table. Then you forget you let off what makes you an independent arm of government.
Does this also apply to the center?
It applies everywhere.
So how well is the House of Reps, where you're a member, how well have they been able to do
you must have seen that at the federal level,
yes,
right from the beginning of this section,
yes,
there has been no love lost between the executive and the legislative.
Yes, so Nigerians will say, yes, we've seen conflict, all right, but not headed to anywhere. Because after the conflict, we see you end up probably having a closed-door meeting with the executive, and you come out all smiling.
Also realize that
yes,
it is a process of resolution. You cannot be in conflict in perpetuity. Conflicts would always come, even in war.
Yes,
there's always room for resolution, and resolution can only come true when you dialogue. So we're not. You can't. It's democracy.
So the executive arm and the legislative arm are not at war.
The closed room sections happen everywhere, in every democratic life, in the United States, everywhere where there are issues of conflict. It is established that this is an issue of conflict, and then you go into closed door negotiations on how to resolve.
Okay, Honorable, your party, the People's Democratic Party, right? What happened? Everybody seemed to be like there's no strong opposition against the ruling party.
I don't agree with you when you say there is no strong opposition within the ruling party.
The school of thought will say PDP is mostly reactionary in its approach, not setting the pace. Unlike when the APC was in the opposition, they were setting the agenda, engaging, and so much so that they got power from.
I think
is your party ready to come back to power?
I think I have seen maturity on the part of PDP too, which you will not take away. You see, someone can be cantankerous. Yes. It doesn't mean you're making any sense. You know, yes, APC got into power making so much noise. Power has been given to them. How well have they managed it?
How well have they managed it?
That's exactly what Nigerians now would have to judge. You know, it's not enough for someone to make noise. I want this cup, I want this cup. I want this cup. If I get this cup, I will perform magic, I will do this, I will do that with this cup. Okay, fine. You've told Nigerians, cried and wailed, you wanted this cup. Nigerians have handed you over this cup.
Do what you want to do.
It is not left for Nigerians to make their choice. Like I keep saying, at the end of the day, the ultimate decision lies with the electorate. It is not just enough for anybody to turn around and condemn the government in power or anybody or any politician in power. The question is, how well have you done when you were supposed to vote? Most times I also take this back to the electorate. Any politician that comes out to bribe you, to give you money to vote for him, any politician that you see spending hundreds of millions to get into office, if you have a way of taking money, take from the man and run away from him. Don't vote him into power. Because most of them believe they have, for any young person, that they give 10,000 naira, 50, 100, 1 million to perpetrate violence and all the electoral malpractices that they do, they have also paid you for your unemployment.
Already ahead.
Ahead of time. they have also paid you for poor medical infrastructures and facility. They've actually paid you for, they've mortgaged you into slavery. And they've paid not just you, but your family members. Because when you have a family member that is sick, I know how many people within the last couple of months that died in Imo State simply because they were rushed to the hospital and there was no oxygen in the government hospital.
Hold on to your thoughts. It's getting there, and we will get to that stage where the Honorable will unveil his dream and ambition, and indeed his plans for Imo people. We'll be right back. So you're saying that transparency to governance is what you want.
Transparency and prudency. Allow them, let the people know what is being allocated to the local government, what they are getting at the end of the day, so that you know you're close to your people. One, you're through the process of the election. Through election, not fixing your cronies. Hold on that. I would not. You're catching me on tape on this. I would not. And one of the things I promised them is that 2 months into my administration, elections will be held.
Into the local government offices.
Elections will be held. Free, fair, credible elections. Monitored by people. Let the people choose who they want. It does not matter which party.
Honorable Tony, let's bring you back to the national scene before we round up. 2019. Who's your candidate for president?
Oh, wow. I don't think
oh, you want the present administration to continue?
I don't think it's time for that yet.
Do you want to give another opportunity to this government?
You know the problem we have. You know the problem we have also.
Yeah.
With this question you just asked me, is that in Nigeria, 80% of the time we're practicing, up to 80% of the time we're practicing chimpanzee politics.
What is this chimpanzee politics?
Good. Chimpanzee politics is that politics. You know, in the chimpanzee kingdom, all they do is politics 70% of the time.
Really?
Yes, go and read up. What they keep plotting is how to maneuver, how to defeat, how to dethrone. They are territorial fighters. So 70% of the time, they are negotiating power. That is what happens. You can go.
So what's going on now? Is power being negotiated?
That is the chimpanzee politics. 70% of what is going on among politicians is chimpanzee politics. Then 30% leadership. But Nigeria will move forward when we do 70% leadership, 30% politics.
All right. Nigeria will move forward when we do 70% leadership and 30% chimpanzee politics. That's from Honorable Tony Nwolo. Of course, you've heard that he is going for governorship in Imo State. He's reeled out a bit of what he has at his mission, going to Imo State. That's Douglas House, isn't it? And then he's also talked about what should be held, you know, how he should be held on some of these things he said here. On arrival, 2 months into office, he'll be conducting the local government and councillorship elections and all of that, saying that bottom approach to governance, that is taking leadership or governance to the people, is his mission in Imo State. He's also talked about how that he wants to leave certain steps, footprints behind for young people to follow. That money politics is not the only way out, but that you should think about those leadership qualities that will make you have social capital with which to negotiate power. And that's Nigeria right now for today. I hope you've picked a few of things from the Honorable who sponsored the Not Too Young to Run bill. That's a very important bill in our country today. I look forward to seeing you next week. Same station. Nigeria right now.
As usual, I am excited today. Like, AY has done a whole lot for people. I'm not just his baby mama, I am his manager. And we all know that Wizkid had he had numbers of baby mamas. And
he said you don't need some leaders of the National Assembly.
The worst form of democracy is said to be better than the best form of military regime.
We are trying to build political blocks.
Just days after he defected from your party, I believe the politics taking too far.
Members of the new board of Police Service Commission.
You know, the thoughts of the fact that his seat should be declared vacant because
We have some states that have experienced, some level of insecurity.
The headship or the leadership of the Senate or the House of Representatives.
But I have gone beyond that now, beyond partisanship.
I don't think a lot of you know the crisis in the embassy.
We know that the people of the country are getting more information about what is happening to us.
with what you know about the person, you will go ask yourself.
But one of the things I've come to observe is that
I'm Agbero. That made me like this Agbero.
He don't need PVC. He don't need PVC. I was trying to convince him.
News emerged that Jones Abiri, a Bielsa-based journalist, is out on bail.
And there's nothing, of course, that makes them to have this guy.
As a citizen, first of all, every citizen has the right. What is happening in the society, what is happening everywhere around him.
From that day, Saraki knew that he was a madman in the APC.
He should ask these people who leaked the information. That is his business.
This is not the first time JSS was taking over the National Assembly.
It may be extremely very difficult to remove a Senate president.
But the question is the viability of most of these 91 political parties.
Of course, you can't prosecute without investigation.
It will be easier for you to have those people with the like minds to join you.
You're watching People's Television, your people's preferred station.